If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Veterans Day is not far ahead, and joining us this morning is veteran Ed Jenkins. And Ed, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale. Wonderful morning.
It is indeed. Got a big Veterans Day parade coming up, and you talked about maybe the biggest ever.
Well, that's what we say. That's what we say. We, the people that organize it, I help with it. We got a reception afterwards. Well, they say this is going to be our biggest one we ever had. And we started this back about 10 or 12 years ago. And they say this is going to be a great big one.
Well, let's talk about the parade and the emphasis of the parade. And I guess the route will be the usual route down on Broadway, right?
I think that it's something that's coming. It's similar to the same route, Jimmy Dale,
okay.
but it'd be just a little change in there.
Okay.
But anyway, it's practically the same. So they'll be lining up there. I think he said off 6th Street and work it from there, according to John. But anyway, what we do know is it's supposed to be the biggest one we've ever had.
All right.
And we also know that we have people coming from other sections, of the county and whatnot, and mostly the people that have turned out have been from Sylacauga. But this year there's supposed to be some people from other places and other parts, veteran. So this is supposed to be the biggest one ever had in Sylacauga.
Do we have a Grand Marshal this year?
That is our World War II people. I think there's 2 or 3 of them living, and they're the Grand Marshal.
Okay, and that will be, what's the date on that, Ed?
That's November the 12th.
Yeah.
And the parade will start at 10 o'clock. They'll start lining up about 9 or 9:30 Jimmy Dale, and there'll be a big reception following that as usual up at the American Legion. And last year there were lots and lots of folks that came by afterward. Anytime you have a reception and you feed, it's going to be right. People's going to be there. So, but they done well, and everything went well as usual in Sylacauga. But I'm just so thankful this morning for every vet that's still living, and and we look back at those deceased like your brother and so on down the line. We're thankful for those. We're thankful for the people that serve this nation.
Talk about, Ed, Veterans Day and what it means to our country and what it means to honor our veterans, not just on Veterans Day, not just for a Veterans Day parade, but throughout the year.
I believe it should be. I believe they should be honored throughout the year, Jimmy Dale. I really think that they should be thought of on a daily basis, 365 days a year, because of sacrifice. I heard a judge yesterday say that every day ought to be Veterans Day, and I kind of believe that's right. Because when you see a vet, I believe you ought to respect him enough and say, thank you for your service, no matter who he or she is. And now remember, this day and time we got a lot of she's. So you respect the vet, ever who it is. But, let's be honest with you. We have the most per state serving our nation now. We're a small state, but we have the most reserve and the most guards. And the most...
That says a lot for the people of Alabama.
People of Alabama are great. And for the people of Alabama, that says a whole lot. When we got the biggest guard unit serving, the people serving in the guard and in the reserve, any state in the union. So, and serving abroad too. So,
you are a Vietnam veteran.
Yes.
And recipient of 3 Purple Hearts, is that right?
Right.
And talk a little bit about your time in Vietnam. It's a different era now, different type of wars being fought with different weapons and stuff like that. But go back in time to the 60s when you served in Nam.
Well, back in the 60s when I served in Nam, I was small then, and we had what is known as, they had tunnels. We had tunnel rats, and I was one of them at that time. And the rest of our forces, our people served.
What's a tunnel rat?
Well, he goes down in tunnels and see what he can find, or enemies and this and that and the other, and hoping he comes out alive. it's a very dangerous situation. But also we had the men out on the line and fighting in the jungle and wading rice paddies and what have you. They had a tough job too. So it all come together there. But when, you know, as the fellow said the other day, I'll use this as an illustration about our present war. He had a son in Iraq and he came back blind. And then it just tore me up inside because these things, and I said, again, that's why we should respect every veteran. Jimmy Dale, we lost a lot of people in Vietnam, and our time in Vietnam was spent. But
how long did you serve in Vietnam?
18 months.
You remember it clearly today?
Oh, yeah, it never goes away, but, you know, you just try to push the bad and take the good. The thing that'll never go away is the people that you lost. I told them this is the only place in the world that I ever, in the military, that I ever could have thought that I could have went and moved from a private to sergeant in just a few months. So, you know, it's all those things come back and they're right there to be remembered. And the biggest thing I can remember is trying not to lose anybody and trying to help everybody and yet losing people. That was always a big hurt. We had well, of course, we had several that we lost during that time. We had young Jacob Boyd. We also had, you know, a decent boy that's deceased now, as well as your brother. Those things never always stick in your mind. The biggest thing that sticks in my mind is today we're still losing them, Vietnam vets, not in combat, but from a disease there called Agent Orange.
What is that?
It's a cancer. It sets up years later.
You've seen it?
Seen it. Yes, sir.
What was it from? I mean, what?
Chemicals that they had in that war. They'd sprayed the jungle, and those chemicals, and the people that was in that jungle, they got exposed to those chemicals. Most of them came down with Agent Orange.
You're still helping veterans today.
Still helping veterans today, yeah, with their claims and getting them back and forth to the doctor. We're in the process now of raising money through the DAV, getting a van to take those that can't drive back and forth to the doctor. So hope to have that completed by last of March or early April.
Disabled Veterans of America, there's a lot of them.
Sure are. A lot of them. And we have our share around here too.
Yeah. Now you work out of the office here at the courthouse, is that right?
Yes, courthouse. We're here Tuesday and Wednesday and sometime whenever need to be.
Do you become angry and disturbed when you see the misuse, the lack of respect for veterans of whatever war?
Oh yes, it doesn't matter what war it is. You know, to me, to disrespect a veteran who's taking care of you, of all of us, and the whole nation in general, is awful, Jimmy Dale, and it gets under your skin.
A lot of red tape to get through when you're attempting to help a veteran today.
Well, they change this ever so often, and it's changed many times. You have to stay on top of it, but we have been able to cut through some of the red tape now and send the claim directly to Wisconsin. And, you know, that's the main medical place, I guess. And we send them there, and then they look over them, and a lot of them are being approved through Wisconsin now. Don't have to go back through Montgomery, so that's a good part.
Yeah. What about the Bill Nichols Veterans Home in Alexander City? Wonderful
place for our veterans. I wish we just had more room down there now. We have 5 ladies that's there now. And the men, it's 100, I believe it says it's about 153 capacity beds there. And at the present moment, all of them are full. We have a waiting list. They do a super job. I was just out there Monday.
What about the clinic in Childersburg?
The clinic in Childersburg is something we worked real hard for. It was coming, you know, Bill Nichols was working on it, and then Mike and everybody else, we all pushed for it at a later date, and we finally got it. It's great because it cuts the shortcut. Don't have to go to Birmingham. We can go there and be treated.
You know, there's an old song that said, red, yellow, black, and white, they are precious in His sight.
That's correct.
You see the flag over your shoulder there,
yes,
and in the monitor there. What does America mean to you and to these people that are watching today, no matter what skin color they are?
That's right.
You know, we live in a great country. We
live in the greatest country on earth. And the one thing that we fight for, and still we got people fighting for it, is nation freedom. Other nations do not have the freedom that we do, and we're striving every day to keep our freedom and keep our country sound. And the flag means everything. And we'll go back to the statesman way before us. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." Nathaniel Hale said, "Regret that I got but one life to live for God and country." And that's the way all of us veterans feel, and we ought to show that. And
would you do it again, Ed?
Oh, yes. Yeah, some say they wouldn't. I would, because we have got to keep this country free. We don't want a socialized country. We want a free nation, but we don't want to be socialized. Those socialized nations are falling under daily. One of the
hottest topics now, most talked about and most debated topics today is illegal immigration, and this great number of people in caravans coming from a lot of them third world countries and trying to get to the United States. I saw yesterday where the United States was sending troops to the border. And does that concern you about, you know, some of those people are good people, I'm sure, are a lot of them, trying to get to freedom that we enjoy in America. They don't have there, but also there's some people embedded in that is not for America.
This is what you have. This is the bad part of it, and this is the sad part of it. But on the other hand, what we all must realize and learn, that the price we paid for this country and this nation, and you know, everything should be checked out, and but we cannot continue to take on the whole world. And you know, we love the people, and we have missionaries that we train to try to help them with their problem. But some countries are so bad that these people are coming this way. I understand that, but then it seems to be most times there's more bad than are good in these things, and so you know it's a dangerous situation. And I have to agree with the president. We've got to have a stop to it.
Ed Jenkins, military veteran of the Vietnam era, and who's very, very involved with our veterans here locally. Veterans Day is a week from this Sunday. The Veterans Day Parade is the following Monday. And a lot of people, a lot of flag-waving Americans are not just here in Sylacauga, but across our country.
Right. And then they'll have the big veterans thing in Birmingham, Alabama on Sunday. And, you know, that's always a great big event, and, you know, and things of that nature. But we as vets love our country, and we want everybody to understand that we love our country and we love our nation. And we certainly love Sylacauga and Talladega County and the entire state of Alabama. But Sylacauga will always be home to Ed Jenkins because they've treated him nice, treated him right, and they always treat our veterans right. And as we finish this morning, Jim and Dale, we appreciate the opportunity of advertising the parade and talking for our veterans. So if anybody's out there listening this morning, you can come down to see us today that need to see us. We'll be at the county building from 9 until 2, except for now.
So you have to have an appointment, or they just come?
No, just come on in. No appointment necessary. Just come by to see us, and we'll try to help you with your problem.
Ed, I tell you this often. I tell you this today. I salute your service and honor your service to our great country, and all the veterans who are watching that are represented here today. We salute you. We thank you for your service to our country. And because of those men and women, we're remaining free today. Ed, thank you.
Thank you, Jim and Dad.
We got more Daybreak coming up right after you watch this.